É neste contexto de maior exigência e desta aceleração do ritmo de vida que as marcas e o seu sucesso estão hoje mais dependentes da sua agilidade e da sua rapidez em antecipar estes movimentos, em antecipar estas tendências e a implicação que elas têm para as marcas. Diríamos que estão mais dependentes da capacidade de entrar em modo SpeedForward, e é disso que nós hoje vamos falar e vamos refletir aqui juntos nesta sessão.
E, portanto, se o poder está do lado do consumidor, interessa-nos perceber qual é a origem deste poder. Também é perfeitamente adquirido hoje que há aqui uma mudança muito radical na forma como os consumidores se relacionam com a mídia e com as mensagens e com os processos de comunicação. E quando falamos especificamente desta geração que se designa como os millennials, vemos, de facto, aqui uma mudança muito acentuada na relação com todas estas realidades. Falamos de fenómenos como o multiscreening, o multitasking, mas a capacidade também de, essencialmente, filtrarem aquilo que consideram relevante. E este é o elemento crítico, hoje em dia, em qualquer processo de comunicação entre uma marca e um consumidor. Já não se trata apenas de garantir, e esse obviamente continua a ser o papel da mídia, garantir que a nossa mensagem chega aos nossos consumidores de forma eficaz e que a visibilidade da comunicação é assegurada. O que se trata, hoje em dia, é muito mais de ser capaz de quebrar esta barreira que esta nova geração, esta geração Netflix, desenvolveu na capacidade de filtrar e de direcionar a sua atenção apenas para as coisas que considera efetivamente relevantes. E esta é, de facto, a questão central. A capacidade de fazer fast forward, a capacidade de fazer ad skipping, a capacidade de fazer uma filtragem muito seletiva daquilo que nos chega e daquilo que depois vamos propagar junto da nossa capacidade individual enquanto consumidores.
And I would say that probably the biggest challenge, sometimes a mistake that marketers are doing today, is they're trying to fit into today's situation, today's media situation, and the consumer, the changed consumer. They're trying to fit old methods of acting instead of looking at it from a perspective of actually reinventing those methods of acting, right? And what's going to happen, the next thing that's going to happen is that someone's going to come in. They're going to do something slightly better, like Netflix did with HBO, right? They overtook HBO in a matter of 1 year. And HBO was doing pretty well, right? They're twice as big now as HBO. That's incredible. And the only thing that HBO did is they just slept over the change that was happening, right? They said, we're not going to give you unlimited access to online only. You have to buy the TV subscription as well. Netflix did that, poof, and they're gone, right? Netflix is twice as big as HBO. The challenges that you're facing today are really the same that you've been facing forever, right? So one is, how do you find more customers? And if you want to grow your brand, you have to find new customers. And secondly, how do you stand out in a cluttered marketplace, right? How do you differentiate yourself from what's happening out there? The times that we're living in require different methods of approaching, right? And what we can do today is really reach those customers, and that's what you have to do as marketers, and you have the tools to be able to reach them and reach the qualified customers at scale, right? You have the tools to be able to impact them and be able to actually check and see where their attention is to be able to communicate in the right way, and then measure those results and see how and what you're doing, if it's effective, and what you can improve for the future campaign.
So we've understood our consumer, we've listened to him, we know what his problems are. We've created new customer experiences that go across platforms. But it's time to also rethink the kinds of business models that we have. So this was the video that you saw earlier. Tom's started, it's a shoe company, it sells shoes. But they started out with the mission not just to sell shoes, they want to do some good for the world. So for every pair they sell, they'll give a pair of shoes to charity that goes to developing countries. And this creates a link with the consumer that goes beyond just a sales point. You know that when you buy a pair of Toms, you're going and you're doing something else with it. It's going somewhere else. It's not just for you, and it's useful. It's valuable. So creating meaningful connections through your business model is incredibly important to reach new audiences. As a brand, you can go beyond just creating a product. You can create a whole experience, and you can even reach people who aren't your direct consumers with your brand.
Do that. So I think there's something in the mantra, in the culture behind a company that allows it to build and adapt and be iterative in the digital age, or the next age. When J&J were hit really, really hard by the financial crisis, they felt they couldn't compete with a lot of their customers, a lot of their competitors. They couldn't compete on media spend. They couldn't compete on supply chain. And they made some really bad decisions on exchange rate. And they thought they were going to go down. And someone said, well, can we compete on being digital? Can we take a digital transformation and make our company properly digital? So they did it. And they saw 4 elements to this cultural and behavioral change that drove them into the digital age. Firstly, it was infrastructure. So they realized that if you're going to adopt new tech, if you're going to be the first people to play with social, if you're going to be doing video quickly, if you're going to be using lots of data, you need to have an infrastructure in place that allows that to happen. Interestingly, it's not just the marketing department. You need the legal department to understand it too. You need other people to come along. You need your partners, your agencies to understand that too. So infrastructure and digital transformation isn't just a marketing issue, it's a company issue. The second one they noticed was targets. Targets, well, they set themselves some false targets on media spend. They set themselves some stiff targets on measurement. And what the targets did, it gave them a goal, a common goal to get around, but it also forced them to do something. We heard earlier about failing fast. It forced them to spend the money and not take the safe option because they set targets on it. And it also forced them to measure and prove what they were doing was the right thing to do. And then there was leadership. And I'm a firm believer that leadership can come at many levels. But in this case, what the leaders were doing were driving this, were backing up the culture and behavioral change that they were trying to see. It's a personal commitment from the leaders, and it comes from top down. And without that, you're not going to have any digital transformation. And then the fourth and final, and for me the most important pillar, was the people. How do they build a digital IQ? How do they train people? They decided not to wipe out the marketing department and bring in lots of digital kids, but they wanted to not have digital silos. They wanted everyone to understand how to do digital together. And they invested a hell of a lot of time, money in training. Not just for everyone, but for the leaders too. They backed it all up with the actions they were saying. Have a mission that people can get behind and really buy into. And that will allow you to create the right environment for the right people to thrive. So that's how Google do it.